Okay, so today we're going to talk about body language in horses and all other aspects. Whatever time we get, we are going to discuss body language, maybe a little bit of communication. Is that is that what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Um, can I just say that my first thought, as we discussed the other day, Gilbert's just licking my hands, um, was that, and I discussed this with a couple of my liveries the other day while we were sitting having a coffee, and I said, the common term is calming signals, and I know you said about we use the term, that's the term that's used or comes from the dog training world.
Yeah.
And I said to them, what's your understanding of calming signals? Do you think it's relevant to you? And they both sort of looked at me like I had two heads. So that the terminology to say body language, reading your horse's body language and facial expressions, that's a bit long-winded, but actually that's much more relevant to
and
what
and understandable as well, as you say.
yeah, because I think it's if otherwise it's doesn't seem like it applies to most horsey people, and particularly the horsey people that it should apply to most. So what have you got? So we were going to have some pictures and discuss what we think is going on in those pictures.
Now this is, you have to excuse us because we are learning how to do this, aren't we? So
Yeah, can you do it?
what we should have worked on, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's see if I can find something. Okay. What's it look like from yours? Oh, hang on. Okay, so I have got.
Riley, what are you doing?
Can you see just a screen with lots of pictures on it?
Oh, I can see loads of pictures on that.
So what I don't know is if I should have made a presentation, shouldn't I?
Don't worry. Shall I do mine? Or if you click
so
on that, will it come up?
On this one.
I can just see like your computer screen.
Okay, that probably doesn't work then.
Psyche Talk 2, Psyche Talk 3.
Oh. So maybe, hang on, let's just do that for a minute. Okay, so maybe what I should have done is made a little PowerPoint like
okay, well, I didn't do that. Let me share one of mine. So when I press the share button, it says Gilbert's nose. It says photos, loading photos, and I'm gonna start with this one. Oh, and then I can go on to that one, and then I can go on to that one. And we've got these are going to be quite controversial. So this comes from the Coffee with Horse Lovers, and so this is in the public domain. This Dropbox link to the pictures, of which I've only picked one of to share, but just wanted to show where it comes from. So this is out there on the internet. I don't think, well, I'm probably going to upset a lot of people discussing this, but it's not. You can find it if you want to go and look for it.
So. Yeah, we're going, as you say, it's out there. It's easy to find because it was.
And and I think this is when we're talking about social license and body language and all these sorts of things. Now, when we're talking about not just horses that are leisure horses having a nice life, we're talking about used for sport, and why this is at the moment such a big thing, such a big deal, and why probably all the FEI and British dressage and everyone's cacking themselves a bit, because pictures like this are coming to light. And I mean, there is well, do you want to start, or do you want me to?
No, you carry on, and we can just discuss it, can't we?
Well, just, I mean, this is, it's absolutely tragic when the sport of dressage, well, is it a sport, is it an art, but was something that was, the word means training, and what we should be doing is improving the horse's mind and ability in his schooling and his body, and make him more functional and more supple and more athletic and all the rest of it. And it turns out that this is, absolute torture. And as much as anyone can say this is a snapshot and a moment in time, yeah, right, I mean, it just isn't. You've just got to look your way through the pictures. But I mean, where do we start? Let's start at the front, going back, and we're talking about putting the horse into a contorted position with his head behind the vertical. His eyes are just, with the stress face. The eyes are just saying help, aren't they? Aside from the blue tongue, the open mouth, the bulging parotid glands, and the broken neck, pressed to the neck position. And then you can look at the rider leaning back and hauling on those reins. I mean, it just is a horrific picture, isn't it? And that's, I suppose that's the extreme. This, if you were looking at that, if that was me riding my horse and you were watching me ride, I'm sure you'd have something to say about it. But why are people going, oh, that's a nice picture of a nice horse doing it
now? A lot of people are conditioned to it because there's so many of these things going on. Instead of looking, and the other thing we need to discuss here is, we've talked about the physical aspects, it's what's going on in the horse's mind at this point of time as well. But this is the interesting thing, isn't it? Because we're talking about, people are conditioned to seeing horses in this state and accepting it as a normal. It's a normal, there's nothing to see here, because that's, as you said, about the FEI and all the big organisations. There's, as far as they're concerned, there's nothing to see here. It's a occurrence. We don't know what you're getting your knickers in a twist about. Nothing to see here. Carry on, jog on. But this place where you've got the drop box, I saw it too. I saw all the pictures, and there are a huge amount of pictures, aren't there? This is not just one person on one horse and one moment of time, because that drop box had, how many did it have on it? I mean,
204.
200.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not, and I mean, some of the videos in circulation, which are, you can't, the videos can't lie, but I mean, this is still, it's not even being recognized. It's still being rewarded by judges at whatever level. There's various, videos emerging of okay, let's talk about the Charlotte video, which was absolute out and out brutality. But actually, if you're saying, right, okay, I'm going to hit, let's go back to our reversives, we're going to hit someone with our reversive, and see where that ends up. Whereas this is not being perceived as violent.
No, you're right. It's not perceived as violent. And
it's just using the equipment that they have to ride in,
They have to ride in it, exactly. There's no option. You cannot get your snaffle bridle out at time and ride in your snaffle bridle. Don't even go anywhere about bitless. No, dangerous, very, very dangerous riding your bitless bridle.
I think, I mean, I go briefly to that, which is we're sort of going a bit off topic. There are so many bitless options. And if the judges and the stewards can't even police a bloody noseband, how they could police all the different variations of bitless, of which some are nice and some are less so, and some that are nice you can still ride, causing discomfort because they're acting, if they don't fit right, they're acting on various facial nerves, etc., etc. So I get the bitless argument of, I get the argument for not allowing bitless on that basis, but yeah, I think we're going to have to go somewhere with it because this is not acceptable.
Well, it needs addressing, doesn't it? Because as you say, this is not acceptable. So whichever way they go, this, as we are saying, is unacceptable, because people have to recognize this body language is not, it's not normal, it's not fine, it's not okay, because that's what you hear them saying. They won't use the word bad, brutal, abusive. They can't use the word good because they know it's not good. So we've got the word fine, it's okay. And, well, the horse loves competing. So, well, who knows what the horse loves? I mean, clearly, from the body language of this horse is not enjoying this experience.
No, it's horrible.
Mm.
It's yeah, it's torture, and you can't actually see that that's improving its mind or its body, or there's no harmony. And actually, as a rider, you think, I wonder what it's like to sit on that horse. I reckon it's actually either really hard work or terrifying. And I suppose, yeah, who knows?
And it's certainly one of the requirements, excuse me, for dressage, which is relaxation. No, I don't see a.
Is that actually in the collectives anymore?
Now you've got a point there, because I picked up a Paralympic dressage test the other day, and it was worded in a very interesting way. I don't know if the word relaxation was mentioned, but that was one of the low-level Paralympic tests. But it should be. There's no way that should have been thrown out, if it has been thrown out, which I'm sure somebody will tell us if they watch this.
But anything coming back to, like you say, body language, you can, if you're training, I think if you have relaxation, everything else is possible. If you don't have relaxation, you are straight away in a situation where the only way you're going to achieve is by force, unless you're achieving leave the arena and don't try again until tomorrow. Unless you can achieve that state of the horse being not in stress, because he's a prey animal. If he's in stress, he's not going to learn. He's not going to.
And the only way that you can ride that horse once the horse is in that state of mind and the body is that tense, is by being basically abusive. So it has links to the last talk we had anyway. There's going to be a certain amount of aversive riding, and as we said, all right, they can't ride, they have to ride in doubles, but we all know there's ways and means of riding in a double. This is not the ideal by any stretch of the imagination. The curb range shouldn't even be picked up at this level.
I mean, it's the design. Well, the idea of a double bridle is to further refine the aids that you're giving, but I mean, that's like giving massive white noise, isn't it?
There's no refinement here.
No. And I can't see because your picture's in the way, but I can't see what the state of those spurs. Yeah, they got wheels on the spurs as well.
Mm.
You know, and again, you're even going, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop. Yes, and I appreciate that for the advanced movements, you need that sort of balance between.
Well, they can have those if they put the relaxation in as not a requirement. If the rider trained the horse with that in mind, that would be there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's well, you can see that the rider's leaning back and hauling.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see who it is anyway. But anyway, so yeah, this is obviously in quite a high level competition. If you were watching someone trotting around the school with their horse in that state, I'd be pulling them up, I think.
Mm.
But yeah, anyway, so that's instantly instantly repellent. Anyway, and can I go to my next picture? And then you've got to tell me what you think of this one, Penny.
Okay.
And again, this is out there on social media. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I saw this earlier actually, and I looked at it. I was scrolling, and I looked at it and thought, I'm just going to carry on scrolling.
Well, now you can't.
No, I can't. But you have forced my hand.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of things I want to say about this, and I'm not going to get into all of my thoughts about this kind of thing. Yes, the horse looks relaxed. Should people do it? No. I mean, I wouldn't do this with my dogs, and they're here, they're all really relaxed. I wouldn't do it with my dogs. So why I would feel that it was appropriate to do it with the horse. And this is the interesting thing about this picture, so it's a good picture to have brought up, is we can look at the horse's face, we can look at where the ears are, or one ear, we can look at the shape of the nostrils, we can look at the eye, and they're all slanting back to the girl that's laying about on the horse. So I mean, it just all looks lovely, doesn't it? It's like, blah, blah, blah. It's like the Darling Buds of May or something. I can't see why horses need, they don't need this. They don't even sit like that with each other, do they? The horse is laying down. There's a lot of weight, as we know. They're compressed, their lungs compress if they lay down, which is why they can't really sleep like this. Guess who's adding a bit more weight onto the horse? For what reason? Connecting with horses.
Why? Yeah. What? That's, yeah. I saw something horrendous at one of the big shows a few years ago. I only watched it on telly, and whoever, how they have those displays in between the jumping, and whoever it was, I don't remember, he ended up with the horse upside down on its back, and he got his dog to jump on the horse's belly. Yeah. And why would you do it? Why? Just because you can? That I just putting that horse in. Okay, it's used to it, but it was horrible. It was horrible to watch, and the dog didn't look happy either. It was, and obviously it was all at liberty, and so not everything's at free will to leave the arena if it wanted to, but they're not, are they?
No, they're not. They're not at free will. So the dog will have been trained to stay on the horse. And as you say, the dog would have been uncomfortable because it's not a normal situation. The horse would have been uncomfortable. This is the problem with any kind of training, isn't it? And of course you can train a horse to do that. Of course you can train a dog to do that. You can do pretty much whatever you like, but it doesn't, as you're saying, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make the horse comfortable. And then that kind of the ooh-ah moment for Joe Blogs down the road to come and look at a horse show. It doesn't, this is the problem, isn't it? So you're giving people this lovely, idyllic kind of, oh, look what you can do with a horse. And, you can do all this stuff with a horse. And actually, no, you can't. And you
Mm.
shouldn't. And
Mm.
don't give people that really don't know much about horses this kind of rose tinted glasses thing. Apart
Well,
from,
again, this one goes back to expectations,
yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah,
Because what happens? Okay, let's be honest. She's not big, and
no,
yes, there's lots of things that are wrong about that. But actually, she's probably not doing anything that's going to cause too much physical discomfort. What if, I don't know, someone 18 stone tops up? I'm too big to ride. I want to come and interact with horses. Ugh. You're going to climb all over them.
mm, yeah,
And who's there? I don't know. I mean, they might have lots of stuff in place. I don't know. So it's a difficult one to assess. But yeah, that's a bit.
it's a snapshot, and obviously it's an advert, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that advert says to me, come and join us in the Lake District, and you can kind of do this if you want to, which
Yeah.
is not taking the horse's needs, and this is the thing, isn't it? The horse's needs are not being met if people actually believe they can go and do this, as it doesn't matter who it is.
But isn't it like, let's go swimming with dolphins? Isn't it
Hmm,
like, let's go diving with sharks? I don't know, that might be a bit different.
not really, is it?
Let's
Because it's the same kind of thing. You're in your cage, the shark's swimming around you. Um, it's not really very different, is it?
no,
The cages are in that situation. The cages are lowered where they know there's sharks around. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any point in doing it, would there? So,
no, exactly. So we're gonna say that this horse, as much as I think first impressions, you go, oh,
hmm,
quite relaxed.
I'm not
Is that
entirely sure because you can see the shape of the nostrils and you can see the shape of the eye, and the ears are directed back towards
yeah.
the girl.
Mm. So it's slightly concerning, isn't it?
Hmm, yeah.
Very good. Now listen, Zoom's just sent me a message and said we've got about 5 minutes. We've probably got about 4 minutes, which is quite good, really, because it stops us yabbering on for too long. But maybe we ought to elaborate this and actually do some more instructional. Would that be
Yeah, well, that's
useful,
a
or
good idea. It's a really
could
good
we add
idea.
that to the course?
Yeah, this is just a little snapshot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good kind of good introductory kind of talk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll do that then, and we'll have a practice getting your screen up.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I don't know what goes on because normally it works, but I don't know quite. I think,
Right.
yeah,
Shall I unshare this and then we'll probably stop share? I'm glad I picked that picture.